drawings are a kind of mock epic poem, with Punchinello as a sort of bizarre everyman, a Forrest Gump of Venetian life, if you will, Venetian art as well. He appears in all sorts of scenes that recall the biblical and mythological subjects that Domenico and his father had painted and drawn. Here, for example, you see Punchinello's at a Triumph of Flora at upper left, a drawing not in the show, though in our collection. And there's Giambattista's great painting now in San Francisco. Or, in the show, this scene of Punchinello as Papa Gnocco during the Venerdì Gnoccolares procession, moving towards an altar with the steaming pot of gnocchi on it. But you can't look at him astride that donkey and not think of images of the Palm Sunday, the entrance to Jerusalem. But the series traces Punchinello's whole life, from birth to death, through childhood, where he learns how to walk, or how he plays badminton, or rather battledore, a predecessor to badminton, as a young boy. We recall that fresco of the Punchinello hyacinth and the shuttlecock. He has his adventures. He's carried off by an eagle at upper left, like some latter-day Ganymede, or he's seized by a centaur, a reference to another one of Domenico's big series of drawings, and again to frescoes at the villa, although amusingly, it's Punchinello who's seized and his woman chases after the centaur. Usually it's the other way around, with the woman seized and the hero chasing after the centaur. He becomes fascinated with exotic animals, and we see him staring at a giant spider crab or at an elephant, animals with physiognomy as strange as Punchinello's own. But he also makes his way through scenes of regular Venetian life. He encounters a troupe of performers with those dancing dogs, again, a drawing that's at Harvard, or he goes for a visit to a barber shop, where he also brings in one of Dad's paintings. That's a Giambattista Madonna and Child hanging on the back wall of the barber shop. And this caricature of a man with an oversized wig is a direct copy of one of Dad's drawings as well. He goes on to that most Venetian of scenes to learn how glass is made, going to the glass blower at upper left, and then on to a carpenter shop at lower right. But again, that multi-balance is always there with this series, because that carpenter shop bears an unmistakable resemblance to St. Joseph's workshop in another drawing by Domenico, also here at the Morgan, from the biblical series, also not in the show, I'm afraid. But are we meant to think Punchinello is Christ-like if he's visiting the carpenter shop? Probably not. Because in the end, Punchinello gets sick and comes close to death. Here we see him in his final illness, attended by quack doctors and lawyers with ass's ears. We might want to laugh, but the dog tells us it's too sad and we should look away. And even here, we're still playing, though, with one of Giambattista's caricatures, this fat man sleeping. That's the direct inspiration, chamber pot and all. But then Punchinello dies and is buried in splendor, a bit like a saint. And this brings me to the end of the story and the end of my lecture. But I hope I've inspired you to return to the exhibition again and again, appreciating not only the beauty of these drawings, but also their humor and the rich stories that they tell about artistic creation. Thank you.